Hello, good people of the interwebs. It's the Bad Mini Painter, and today we're going to do some Genestealers Cults, more precisely Aberrants. Wonder how you pronounce that actually. Anywho, I was lucky enough to get my hands in the combat patrol, the old one. So I'm going to be painting up these models. I don't particularly like the new one. Anywho, I've painted these guys before and I really didn't appreciate, or I wasn't quite happy with the way the skin turned out. So I decided to do something new, and the result was okay. So it's magenta and light flesh from AK Interactive. What I did was I slowly added more and more white flesh to it and did a dry brushing after the base layer. The base layer was a 50-50 mix, and then it's kind of a 30-70, and the last one is a 10-90. So it gradually became lighter and lighter and lighter. And the final layer was just a lighter brushing of light flesh. And the end result was decent. The thing is with the skin of these guys, if you look at the box art, it's kind of this, it's purple, but it has a blue hue, and blue shades are notoriously horrible to work with because they are overwhelming. Anywho, for the pants, fearsome red, because these guys have pants on. They're for some reason quite aware of not exposing themselves to the enemy. I use natural steel from AK Interactive or metal. That's my new thing. Unless I want a dark metal, then it's lead belcher, but in this case natural steel worked quite well for what I wanted to achieve. And as for the axes and whatever you can find of metal bits on the models. Then Achillean green, contrast from Citadel, and as you can see, some of the shoulders I decided to give a layer of the natural steel because they look metallic on the box. Besides that, it's for the arms and legs. For shading, I decided to go with Dark and Hoe Nightshade, and I thinned it with the medium for it to not be too overwhelming, something that it quite easily becomes. And I didn't really want to go back in and try to clean up the skin, because it took a long time and recreating it would be, well, difficult. And generally I'm just adding it everywhere where I want to darken down the skin a bit. So that's near the plates on the arms and legs and so forth. For the stony bit and the claws, I decided to use ash grey from the Army Painter. It's one of my favorite greys. And as I said, that's for the claws and for the stones. Some of the models have a little bit of decoration for their bases, and I got a layer of that too. Next is it's deep brown for all the straps around on these models. There's not a lot, but there are some belts and other good stuff, and of course handles on the weapons, the hammers. And it's a deep brown from AK Interactive. It's a really nice, well-flowing brown. I highly recommend that you check it out if you haven't done so already. I use Skulker Yellow from Two Thin Coats. for the decoration. I guess it's a street sign that this guy just ripped off and decided to use as a weapon. Anywho, so that, and then for the eyes on all these little models. Normally I don't do eyes, but the pink just made everything look kind of flat, so Screaming Skull for the skull. One of the models have a skull in his hand, or hers, who really knows, honestly. And then teeth, all the teeth. I use a pink horror for the tongue. Some of them have their tongue sticking out, so to kind of differentiate that between the skin, or from the skin, that's how I solved that. I use Corvus Black for the markings on the street sign, and for the plates on the legs and near the groin area. There's these leather patches things that seem to be a Genestealer Cult thing to have. Then it's brass from AK Interactive, and that's just to add a tiny bit of variation to the weapons that is pretty, well, one color-ish. So adding a bit of that here and there just adds a bit of interest, and it doesn't take a lot of time. Finally, everything except from the skin gets a coat of oiled earth from Vallejo. It's this dark brown wash, and it does the job quite well. That it doesn't really dull down everything and seeps into all the crevices really nicely. So it dirties things up and emphasizes all the details, and that's basically what you want for a wash, right? And after that, I decided to call it quit, because, well, it's fast and easy. It's not long and beautiful. So this is the end result. The rims on the bases should have gotten another coat. I went back and fixed that, but at that point I've already edited the entire video and they were packed away, so yeah. So the rims on the bases should have gotten another coat. But besides that, that's the models done. And looking at them now, there's a lot of stuff that you can do that would bring out more details and make them look more interesting, but you're also going to be watching them from about a half a meter to a meter away on the table, and I think this gets the job done quite nicely. And it's about an hour and a half for all the models, so fast. Anywho, if you like this kind of content, you know, YouTube is full of absolutely brilliant painters, so if you want to support a bad one, please do subscribe and leave a like, and I will see you soon for another upload, which will probably also be Genestealer Cults, because I have combat patrol thing box.